everybody, and welcome back to the Modern Green Bay and Western on WiscoTrains. Today we're going to be doing a tour of the layout, the Modern Green Bay and Western, and in addition to just doing the tour like we normally do every 3 months or so, I got the track plan out. This is my hand-drawn track plan. We're going to go over it as we go through different scenes and stuff, look at stuff that's changed since I designed it, and look at things that still need to be done, and my thoughts on to how exactly they might turn out. A quick note before we do, what is the Modern Green Bay and Western? What is the premise? What is the idea behind my railroad? Back in 1993, the Wisconsin Central, in real life, bought the ITEL Corporation, which owned the Green Bay and Western and the Fox River Western railways. In my world, Wisconsin Central decided to just buy the Fox River Valley Railway and split up the holdings into two. So Wisconsin Central spun off the Green Bay and Western. Investors from industries that were along the line, and also the then Burlington Northern Railway, took over ownership of it, and the railroad has since done just a bang-up job. Has continued growing traffic. It's become a very profitable bridge route through central Wisconsin. I'll put a map up of the railroad here now. On the west side of the railroad, from Wisconsin Rapids to East Winona, that is the Whitehall subdivision. That is very much based off of the current CN Whitehall subdivision that still exists and follows much of that route today. My model railroad is based off the New London subdivision, which goes from Wisconsin Rapids to Green Bay. My layout covers New London to Seymour. Okay, the train's still going around the layout, that's good. Now let's get over to the layout, and I'm going to show you each of my 4 cities, the staging yard, and the track plan, and how they compare. Okay, so here's the layout. Lengthwise on this end, it is 13 feet, and then widthwise, it is 7 feet, 9 inches. Would be 8 feet if it wasn't for that pole, but I had to accommodate for that because apparently it's structurally important. So we're going to start over here in Seymour. So here's the track plan. I just filmed the corner of the layout from over here. Seymour essentially starts here. So this line here is supposed to be a backdrop. It's curved in real life, which we'll see in just a second. But it comes out of staging, which we'll talk about last. Comes out of staging and comes through a small town. There's no sidings or anything other than spurs for industries, which I have Performance Corp, which is a pallet company, a flour mill that I have yet to name, and also there's a grain elevator / feed mill. When I designed the track plan, it was owned by CHS Larson. Now it's owned by Allied Co-op, so the name has changed because I'm trying to keep up with times as best as possible. And we also have 3 road crossings, which is the most of any of my cities I got. So here's where the track comes out of the staging and goes through our backdrop. This is the spur for Performance Core. As you can see, my backdrop is curved here, so that has changed the shape of Seymour just a little bit. Now there's a little deeper of an area right here as opposed to just being 1 foot. It's just a little bit deeper, probably a foot, an inch, foot and 2 inches, something like that. So not much going on in Seymour. One of the most recent things I've done on the layout is I've painted the track, which you can see over here in Seymour. And while I was doing that, I also just put down a coat of brown just to give the pink foam some other color than pink. Here is Mill Street. This is going to be our flour mill, which I have an old building that I never quite finished that is going to be our flour mill, I think. I may change my mind there. One thing that's not on the track plan that I do plan on modeling is Depot Street, which runs across, which will run across from Main Street right here, across over to Mill Street. I believe, if I remember correctly, they have like a caboose or something there. So I decided that I'm going to use this Menasha Woodenware boxcar instead because it was given to me as a present, and I'd like to find a way to included in my layout. Also, you see the word burger there. Seymour claims to have invented the cheeseburger or the hamburger, one or the other, and there is a random burger in between what was the rail line and Depot Street, so we'll see if I get into modeling that. Except for New London, when you're looking towards the layout, you're always pointing north. So that way is east, so when you come out of that backdrop, you're coming from Green Bay, essentially. That would be the next yard that most of the trains are coming from. And here comes an intermodal train hauled by GB&W 513 and SD 70 AC. Like I said, the Green Bay and Western has been doing well. All the GB&W locomotives you see, I've painted and decaled myself using Circus City decals. They've turned out really well. I've had to modify them a little bit, but not by much. The Green Bay and Western scheme's pretty simple. So here we go. And that's about the average length of my trains. 14 cars is what I want. I also got a Green Bay and Western caboose right along. Don't plan on continuing to use Green Bay or continue to use cabooses like the Green Bay and Western did its entire life, but I just like having them around, so they're gonna show up quite often. But that brings us over to Allied Co-op, which you can see I got some Works Products stuff to at least give me some inspiration and idea of where to start here. This is kind of a cool spot because it's got the little yard attached to it. So obviously it comes off the main line, crosses Elizabeth Street, and I got a switch in here. So this is where the grain's going to get loaded. So the cars would be spotted like this, and then they'd have more room to push down if you had more cars. You could fit, I think 4 here is kind of would be the limit of the grain elevator with 1 spur. And then if you needed to, you could put 2 more over here, but this is going to also be where the feed mill is, where additives and liquids are unloaded and stuff like that. So I really like this little industry. It's a fun one to switch. I'm not a big fan of switching puzzles, but this one takes a little more time than most of my industries. So I really like Allied Co-op, and I look forward to when I get to actually work on it. I don't know, it's not in the plans for the near future. However, I do have plans for hopefully sometime this summer working on performance core and scratch building a building for over there. So the next stop on our journey will be headed west, and we will be headed into Black Creek. Black Creek has a road crossing here that I designed. That'll be North Main Street. It also is our first encounter with the Foxy, the Fox Valley and Lake Superior Railway. This would be their Shawano sub. No interchange there, but the line does cross, and there's a diamond there. It's going to be a dummy diamond. And then we also have Black Creek siding, which is big enough to hold my longest trains, and honestly longer than I really need it to be, but that's a good thing. And then this is Sapoteau cheese, which I will explain a little bit more when I get up back to the layout. Yeah, Black Creek's a fairly simple, I mean, most of these towns are small towns in real life, like they're not very large. In New London it would be the largest. But yeah, so yeah, let's go look at Black Creek in real life. One thing I didn't mention on the plan, this area here is my duck under, as you can see. And this is where you can see both parts of my folded figure 8. This would be the end of New London siding, the the west end of New London siding. Yeah, it's not realistic that you can see both parts of the main line, but that's fine. I want to also be able to just kind of run trains. I like realistic operations, but I also want to be able to just run trains and have them going around like I do right now as I'm making this video. So that's part of what I got to deal with, and I didn't want to put a backdrop here so that I couldn't see inside the layout at all from the outside. So anyways, continue. This will be where North Main Street goes. As you can tell, very realistic, gigantic jigsaw I got going there, but this is probably going to be one of the last areas to get worked on, maybe. I don't know, plans change, but yeah, so that's North Main Street, and that's where downtown Black Creek will be. The backdrop will start somewhere over here. We'll talk about what's going to go over there when we get to it. So this is the Foxy crossing, again, dummy crossing. Backdrop's going to come to right about here, probably where that black line is, with the staging yard behind it. We'll talk about that when the skiving's there. And then we come to Black Creek siding, which we have GB&W 224 with a unit grain train. And looks like we're going to have a meet, so let's film that quick. Okay, so that's enough scale rail fanning. 224 has a loaded grain train headed towards the Fox Valley ethanol elevator at Norwood Yard. Here is the cheese factory. So I have two spurs for my cheese factory. This one is meant to be where we're going to load refrigerated box cars or reefers full of cheese to be shipped out. This I want to be like a chemical unloading area for processing the cheese. I'm not 100% sure on the realism of that and what kind of chemicals, if it'll be tank cars or covered hoppers. But I think it would be kind of a fun industry, again, to have like two different kinds of cars being unloaded at the same industry, just kind of like Allied Co-op. And my plan is for it to kind of disappear into the backdrop. So you see this dotted line here that continues that direction vaguely. This building will get sliced in half, and there'll be it'll poke through the backdrop a bit. So I'll talk more about the backdrop because I'm still not 100% sure how I'm going to do that. Let's continue west anyways. This will be Forest Road, which I'm going to have as a closed crossing because the Green Bay and Western extended their siding for whatever reason. So that'll be kind of a cool little scene. Headed this way, it's going to be much more rural. This is a couple different things. First of all, this is Black Creek West, the end of the siding. And then this right here is going to be Shiocton. So also, why do I have all these freight cars? These are all the freight cars, or at least the boxes of all the freight cars that I need to weather. So Shiocton, being the third city, is very simple. It is literally just a line. It is literally just the main line going through the village, crossing Highway 76. There's no industries, nothing like that. It's meant to kind of be a interesting scenic break and something that I think is very realistic in the modern day. Towns that just have railroads running through them, but not necessarily any industry. So you'll see one thing that I changed is Highway 76, and then there's Smith Street. That is the more realistic arrangement for what Shiocton looks like today and where the line goes through. So that's kind of why I included Smith Street. Right here, where you see the containers going through, there's going to be a backdrop right here. So that's you're not going to be able to see the crossing there, which makes the folded figure 8. And also all of that is part of the Foxy Sneak Off, which let's go over to New London and we'll look at what that looks like. But first, let's take a quick look at the track plan. So that is the Foxy Sneak Off that I just was talking about. It comes down here and meets up with the main line in New London. So the Fox Valley Lake Superior actually works this portion of the old Green Bay and Western and actually owns all the way up to Manawa, even though they don't work that far anymore. However, in my world, the Fox Valley and Lake Superior, the Foxy, interchanges here with the Green Bay and Western, so they have a different connection other than just the Canadian National in Appleton for the east half of their holdings. I mentioned in the past how I don't think the Fox Valley and Lake Superior would exist today if the Green Bay and Western continued, or at least the New London line wouldn't, based off the history, but I'm keeping it because I like it. Some things to notice is we have Granite Valley Forest products here. This area is much different than how in real life than how I drew it. That's just because I kind of had to find a way to solve the issues I had with putting a backdrop here, sneaking the track through without going through a hole. But I'll show you that. Then we cross Embarrass River on a nice bridge. Also, something I didn't include here is the highway overpass for Highway 45. Then this is Business 45. And then coming here, we have New London siding. And then we have the Foxy Interchange Yard, which is a small 2-track yard where the Fox Valley, Lake Superior, and the Green Bay and Western switch cars, or exchange cars, I should say. And then we continue west into staging. So now we're on the other side of where that diamond was inside the backdrop, which I'm just going to show you a quick peek above to get an idea. So this area over here is the Foxy Sneak Off, and that's why I got those buildings and those trees over there to kind of make it look like there's more to the layout than there really is. Obviously, this is the most finished portion of the layout. This is Granite Valley Forest Products, which I did just recently a bunch of videos on. Including how I messed up my gravel. That is a scratch built structure. These are Walther kits over here. A couple details here and there. You can see I have yet to put my people back up after fixing my gravel, but they need to be put back up. I have the Highway 45 bridge overpass, which I also did a series of videos on. Those actually did pretty well, and everybody seemed to like those, so go check them out if you're interested. And then we get back into pink foam and the rest of the layout kind of being pretty bare. This is the project I'm currently working on. The Embarrass River Bridge scene and just water in New London. So I'm hoping to that be the next videos, that we're doing something with this area. As you can see, I have the tallest. Train's about to come through, so let's take a quick video of that. I don't know, what angle is going to be good here? Here we go. Part of the reason I built this layout is just to be able to rail fan my model trains. Okay, continuing on. This will be Business 45, or I believe it's called Shawano Street. That'll be a pretty decent rail crossing. So I mentioned this when we were in Seymour. Here we're looking south. It's a fact because of the folded figure 8. I kind of had to do this, and I'm not very excited about it, but it was part of something I had to do. Now we're looking south. So now to your right is going west, and then to your left is going east, which makes it kind of confusing, and you can see sometimes I get jumbled up on which directions things are going. Yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. And as you can see, I actually have some fascia up because I thought it would really make that scene look really good, and I think it does, honestly. Like, go like this. This looks like a real layout. This looks like something I've seen in Model Railroader. So here is New London siding. We have a GB&W 210 sitting there with a manifest. This is the Foxy Interchange yard, little 2-track yard. And my hope with the sneak off is that, and I have actually been doing this, I just don't have a Foxy locomotive, is to run a Foxy local into here, into the yard, switch the yard, and then go back out the sneak off. And then when my locals come through on the Green Bay and Western, they exchange cars. This is going to be a little pond here. That's part of the New London Water series. Continuing. Oh, mention this. I mentioned in Granite Valley Forest Products videos that I really wanted some center beams there. And I was just down at Hiawatha Hobbies in the Pewaukee, or I think it's Pewaukee, in the greater Milwaukee, Western Waukesha metro area, whatever. And I actually found one of these. It was about 40 bucks. So I just got the one. It's an OKL center beam, which I see constantly on the CN, so that actually works out really well. Pretty well detailed. I already had to cut the air hoses on the couplers so that it would not catch on everything, but yeah, it's a pretty decent looking car, and for some reason center beams are hard to find in N scale. Don't know why. They're modern cars, and N scale tends to be more modern, so whatever. Moving on. Let's see. Here is going to be a swamp because this area of New London is essentially swamps. And then we come back over here, and this is New London West, the switch for the siding. And then, as you can see, like I mentioned earlier when we were talking about Seymour, you can see both parts, but I really wanted to be able to see the entire layout from this area. So that way, as a lone guy who works on his layout and stuff and runs his layout, I'm able to see what's going on at a glance. And then we continue west into staging. Thinking about doing a low trestle here. I saw on some Google Map photos that there's a low trestle here. It really depends on where Black Creek's Main Street goes and where the backdrop ends here. But I think that'd be cool. But let's talk about staging, which you can see back there. So on the track plan, so we were just standing here at this corner. I didn't really draw in staging because I just figured I'd fit as much as I could. The Foxy staging is going to go along here and just kind of be a stub and not connect with anything. A stub is good enough for that. So one of my concerns is what I'm going to do about this, because I kind of thought about it, but I thought, it'll be a problem. That's a problem future game. Is what the backdrop's going to be going through here. Because if it's too tall, I'm not going to be able to see anything back here. And if it's short, that. Well, let's go talk about it in layout. So right now, staging consists of the main line, 1 through switch or 1 through track, and then this stub-ended one. I have recently purchased some more flex track and another switch so I can lay down and finish this stub-ended one and start another track. I'm hoping to at least have, I think I could probably get in, given that this is the edge here, I could probably get in at least 4 tracks that would be of length for mainline freights. The first one, which is track 1 here, that is massive and could hold like 1.5 of my mainline trains, my 14 car length with 2 modern locomotives. So that is way beyond capacity. But I think maybe 4 of those and then maybe 2 more that can hold locals or shorter trains and stuff like that. And as you can see, it just runs around into a corner, comes back over to here, which is back behind Shiocton. And there's the Foxy Sneak Off, which I'm going to lay a switch there, or lay some more track there, so Foxy has more room. And then again for this crossing. So in Shiocton, I think I'm going to do the standard 1 foot tall backdrop that I've been doing. But my concern is over here, I want to be able to see what's going on. I was thinking about doing something maybe 6 inches tall, where at normal viewing level you wouldn't see the staging yard really, but if I just kind of like went on my tiptoes, I'd be like, oh, there's the derailment that I'm looking for, or whatever the issue is. But I haven't quite cracked that, so that's why I think Black Creek's probably going to be one of the last areas to get some attention, just as I try to figure out what that is. If I could rebuild this layout over, I'd probably move my staging yard somewhere else, but also I'm in a corner, so I only had so many options. But that's the state of the layout right now in April of 2025. Some, I guess, stats for nerds. I'm using NCE Power Cab to operate the layout. I'm using Code 55 Atlas Track. Most of my turnouts are 7. I got some 4s in staging, and then also another 4 at Allied Co-op. Well, that's the only one that would be visible. All my locomotives are DCC. Not all are sound equipped. I actually only have 1 sound equipped, and that's the Atlas CP Rail Jeep that you saw that needs to get painted into GV&W colors. Okay, and that kind of concludes our tour. I hope you liked it, especially with the hand-drawn track plan that I did. Things have changed, and not all of this has been followed, and really this isn't 100% to scale, it's just very close to scale. So yeah, I look forward to getting to work on some more of the New London water features, especially in the Embarrass River, and maybe moving on to some stuff in Seymour just to break it up a bit, because maybe I'm getting a little bit of fatigue from just working on the New London half of my layout. It's the same spot constantly. Even though I like seeing the progress, it would be nice to maybe have a little bit of greenery and better visualizations on the other side of the layout. So if you have any observations, comments, things you just want to tell me, or gripes, complaints about my layout, feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching this video. If you're not subscribed, please do. It really helps me out. And go and watch some more videos. See some of my how-tos and see how I mess things up occasionally. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.